watching the moves and playing it close. SOD, super soap. Rainy days, his and hers matching.
All right, look, we're going to get straight to it, okay? We're going to get straight to it. There is no excuse for what I just saw on Sunday. These are NFL players, okay? And I'm getting straight down to the root of the problem and straight down to the root of why what happened just happened. We have a D-line that just played like a Division III, Division II football team that does not know how to practice, okay? This was pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. There's no other way to say it, okay? This was not on the offense. We can make this about Mike Zimmer if you want, but this was about the D-line and their effort, okay? This was about the D-line and their discipline. Yeah, you can call it Mike Zimmer, but I'm sorry, I've played defensive line for 15, 16 years, and I can tell you firsthand that from what I saw, the defensive line coach is directly responsible. Okay, I am a huge Cowboy fan, but I don't know what the name of our D-line coach is. He's the reason that happened. Okay, you could go find four top-notch high school defensive tackles, to be super specific, defensive tackles. You can go find a different lineup of defensive tackles straight out of high school that know how to own their gap better than what we just saw. Okay, and I'm talking about technique. I'm not talking about physical strength. Obviously, an NFL defensive lineman can hold up better than a high school or a Division III, Division II NCAA college defensive tackle. But I tell you what, I can find you a bunch of defensive tackles that have better footwork, that have better intention to stay in a gap, that have a better knowledge to understand what the offensive line's trying to do. Do you know, I'm squirming because it's irritating. Do you know how defensive linemen are coached? Okay, let's really get down to the nit-gritty of this thing. Defensive tackles are taught to read the key. Do you know what their key is? It is the shoulder of the offensive lineman ahead of them. If that shoulder moves down the line of scrimmage, you are to move down the line of scrimmage as well. What we saw happen on Sunday was defensive tackles see the key shoulder of their offensive lineman go down the line, and they took such a long time to react and get in their gap that the offensive lineman on the other side of them reach blocked them. For those who know the X's and O's, there's nothing a defensive tackle can do that's worse than getting reached, okay? What a reach is say the offense is running an outside zone. The offensive line is going to try to get to the other side of the defender so they can seal off a lane for the running back to run through. The Cowboys defensive lineman is here. The Saints guy is here, and he's allowing this Saints offensive lineman to literally go across his face this way before he even reacts. So Kamara just has a wide open lane. You don't have to be the strongest guy in the world to be in the way, okay? It's about footwork. If you look at the footwork of these defensive tackles, when the ball is hiked and that offensive lineman moves down the line, he's standing there and watching it. Okay, not only are you not supposed to watch and you're supposed to be reactive, but your footwork matters. You are supposed to take a flat step. It's called a flat step. You take a flat step down the line of scrimmage because this gives you a head start, and it makes it easier for you to stay in your gap so that the other offensive lineman cannot overtake you. We have defensive linemen out there that don't even know how to take flat steps to stay in their gap. And what's upsetting is they do know how because they did it last week. I even put out a tweet. It says, that is how you play gap defense. And I thought that we were moving on the right track. I thought that we were going to be playing sound gap football, and boy, was I incorrect. Because guys were literally standing up and running down the line of scrimmage. What kind of leverage do you have if you are standing straight up and running down the line of scrimmage? You have none. So what did you see as a result? You saw this whole entire Saints offensive line just bullying us, moving us off the ball. No, they were not that much stronger than us. No, they were not that much better than us. They practiced better than us. They were more prepared. Okay, There is no way a defensive line has an efficient practice all week and they come out and you've got guys not even flat stepping down the line. They're not even reacting to the offensive lineman's shoulder. They're not even reacting to anything. No pre-snap, no post-snap. They're just out there playing lazy. And the only excuse for us to see them take such a step backwards from what we saw last week is the coach. Voila. It's the coach, okay? It's the defensive line coach. And then it's easy for us to sit back and get mad at the linebackers because what you guys don't realize is this. Do you know what can really piss off a linebacker and make him fight his D lineman? Is when they allow offensive linemen to reach block them. Because now guess what? Once that offensive lineman reaches over the defensive tackle, he's still looking for work. The play's not over for him. So now guess what he's doing? He's already cut you out of the play. So now he's looking to get upfield. And guess who's in the second level? The linebackers. So now you have big 6'6", 320-pound linemen coming and mauling our linebackers at full speed and full balance because our defensive tackles have allowed them to reach block them and get to the second level efficiently. This is not on Eric Kendricks. This is not on Overshown. Okay, this is not on our linebacking group. This is on our defensive tackles that allowed the offensive linemen of the Saints to reach them and dominate them play after play after play because they had poor leverage, they had poor get off, they had poor technique, they were not using their hands, they were not shedding blocks, and they were allowing guys to get to the second level. When you see our linebackers getting destroyed by offensive linemen, that is on the defensive linemen. That is their fault. The defensive linemen got to help out their linebackers the same way the offensive linemen got to help out their running back and quarterback. It's the same concept. But when you get guys that are selfish and they want to go make the play, then guess what happens? They see an offensive lineman coming to try to block down on them. Guess what they do? Oh, okay, I'll just step backwards and let him go that way so then I have a free path. No. You only do that if you're like Micah Parsons and you can actually weave back around and make that tackle. But when you're a defensive tackle, you can't do that. Okay, you're not Aaron Donald. He could maybe pull it off. You cannot step here, allow your offensive lineman to come down, swim move him, go under him, and then try to come backside and make a tackle. It's not going to happen. You are supposed to stay in your gap and try to plant your outside foot, and you were supposed to sit in that gap and let the linebackers fill their gap. That is your job as a defensive lineman. You don't let the offensive lineman free. The whole game was destroyed because of this, because the Saints were getting 5 yards a carry, 5 yards a carry, 8 yards a carry, 5 yards a carry, 14 yards. So then guess what happens? Play action, play action, play action. It bombed the whole entire game. Our defensive line coach has to do a better job. He has to do a better job. They're having the worst film session they probably have ever had in their lives. I guarantee it, because what I saw was what pisses off defensive coaches the most. Literally, here's the difference. If you're a defensive tackle, let me give you a little demonstration. If you're a defensive tackle and an offensive lineman's in front of you and the ball snaps, if that offensive lineman moves this way, you're supposed to step that way at the same time as him so that he can't get over your face. The Cowboys defensive linemen were standing up out of their stance, letting him go that way, and then letting another guy go that way, and then going to the backfield and expecting to wrap around and catch Alvin Kamara. What you're supposed to do is you step over, you sit in the gap, and you plant and you plant and you plant and you wait for the play to come to you. But they're being selfish. They're trying to go under the tackle. They're trying to go under the block, and it's not going to work out. It's that simple. That's the quickest way I can break it down to you. And no shots thrown, but I don't know how many content creators are breaking it down for you like that. I'm telling you, I've done it. I've played it. I'm telling you, this is exactly what happened. Guys are standing up. They're letting their face get crossed. Why? Because they were practicing like doo-doo. They had a terrible week of practice. They had an awful week of practice. That's not a skill thing at all. So I got a little worked up because it's irritating, dude. It's the Cowboys continuously, they get beat by things that high school teams lose. But like, it's high school stuff. It's college stuff. These are professionals. These are all things that can be fixed with a good coach. I'm not going to sit here and talk about Dak. I'm not going to sit here and talk about the offense and how we needed third wide receiver and how Overshown only got 17 snaps and any of that. No. We don't need to even get rid of our D linemen because I tell you what, you can be the best D lineman in the world. If you have terrible weeks of practice, you're going to be off your game too. They need to go have a practice where they emphasize staying in their gap. Stay low, flat step, sit in your gap, use your hands, shed blocks, and then your linebackers will make more plays. It's that simple. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is Zay Talks. Please like and subscribe. Thank you guys for clicking on the video. Peace out.